kids need to care about my street cred. Represent. I won one locals. I'm now a Belphemon expert.
What's going on? It's Toolbox here, just your average blue collar tamer. And today I actually got a super informative video. I got my boy here. He's gonna explain some things about Belfemon. So introduce yourself.
I don't have as cool a nickname as Ty, so you can just call me JJ. I will think of a good nickname. I'm our resident purple player.
Oh yeah, this dude's a nut when it comes to purple and all that fun stuff. So pretty much what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna ask you questions on like, hey, what's the do's and don'ts when you're playing against Belfemon? Because it's kind of like one of the top decks right now. And I know for me, like a couple times I played it and I didn't really know everything that was going on. Kind of just kicked my ass. So yeah, so I just want to get some information, help some people out.
Yeah, I snuck a win at our locals with it last week, and I mean the deck's very purple combo-y fun, but it's definitely there's not a lot of bounce back to it. If you can get a hold of the game state and just be ahead, it's hard for Belphemon to come like clap back. Like it can still do it, but it's kind of choreographed.
So you're saying like it's pretty much one of those decks where it's like if you get disrupted, it's hard to like come back from it, or is it relatively easy to come back from like if like your board gets wiped or things like that?
It's really hard to disrupt it because of the sleep mode. So when you tuck that rage mode underneath, you can't be affected. And then you can just trash 2 cards. If you have an Astamon inheritable, you just get to play at a level 4 for free. So it's hard to disrupt it, but if something like Shine or even like Beals, which is still pretty viable, outpaces it, it's hard for Belf to kind of like stabilize and stay alive long enough to do its thing.
So okay, so say I'm playing against the deck. What are things like you don't want to see?
What I don't want to see.
Yeah, you don't want to see me play. Like say I'm doing things to try to like what could help counter the deck as much as you can.
It's weird because Belphemon usually runs it itself too, but like Psychmon or any cost reduction because of the Gizamon engine, where you're deleting an egg to reduce to play the level 3, or you're deleting the level 3 to reduce the play cost by 4 to play the level 4. Like all that is play cost reduction. So Psychmon, Solarmon, Chikurimon, anything like that slows the deck down, but building a very mean stack in raising is terrifying, and generally against Belf, raid is a super effective method. Like the raid War Greymon is because Belphemon can't be effective, but Belphemon can still be attacked by raid effects. So that can just wipe a Belf if they can raid into you, almost like how Mother D Reaper playing against that like back in the day.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say because I played online against someone. They were like, "Yeah, this is pretty much like the new Mother D," and I was like, "Yeah, I can see what you mean. I can't do anything effect wise. I have to attack into it." But the raid function really helps, being able to because unsuspended, so you can swing into it. Just kind of like that old Metal Greymon from was it BT8, the one where you can attack unsuspended if you got a
Yeah,
Dragon
like
King.
the staple in Machine Dramon, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that one.
I
So
will say though, I was on the other side of it. I was actually playing War Grey against Bell, and I raided, tried to swing into the sleep mode, and he had the Astamon inherit, which whenever you trash a card in your opponent's turn, you get to play all level 4 for free.
mhm.
So he stopped the raid attack with the sleep mode effect by trashing 2 cards, and then he played out the Devimon blocker to stop the second raid attack because he could just block it,
Oh
and
yeah.
it was infuriating. You have to have I found a way around it, but you have to have Hades Force, and it was the weirdest thing. So you have to swing with Raid, Belphemon do their effects, then Hades Force their blocker and whatever else you can on their board, and then swing again because of the Hades Force end of attack effect. It was the weirdest interaction.
Yeah, that's kind of like the stars have to align for that combo to really kind of work.
Oh yeah.
All right, I so another question would be if I'm playing against you, like what's things I need to try to avoid like doing to help, help your state? Like things like you kind of want your opponent to do? Like what are some of those?
Leaving like level 4s or level 5s out because a lot of people don't remember that everybody thinks about rage mode as the just aggression doing 2 security checks, but whenever rage mode started your main phase, you delete all level 5 and lowers. So don't try and like high roll out of raising if you don't already guarantee yourself a level 6, because anything level 5 and below won't survive. To kind of combo on that, if Belphemon has their tamer out, I will destroy his name, so I won't even try and say it. But the 3 cost purple tamer, you can, at the end of your opponent's turn, tuck him underneath to delete a level 6 Digimon. If you can climb past 5 to get to 6 and there's no tamer out, you feel pretty safe. But if you can't, don't even come out of raising. Just hide in raising, wait, and just bounce back on Belf and see if they have a follow up and just hope you don't die. And sounds kind of crappy, but that's really the best way is to just kind of clap back on it. Or if you have a weird way to get out of level 7 cost effectively, the only way Belphemon can theoretically get rid of a level 7 is the Gift from Darkness option. But that's it. And that's usually a 2 or a 3 of maximum in Belphemon.
Kind of, it's just like this deck is like everything you do, it just has a way to kind of get rid of it. Like it protects itself pretty much from tucking one of the Ragemans underneath of it. It wipes your. You can't like rookie rush it because it will kill all the level 5 and lowers. Like what you're saying, you pretty much have to get out of level 6 if they don't have the tamer, and if they do have the tamer, it has to be you have to get it to a level 7.
Yeah, I mean, don't like the Shine Gray player at locals. My round one this last week. He didn't have a level 6, so he hadn't played against Belf before. So he made 2 level 5 stacks, brought out 2 Marcuses for free. But then I just like woke up sleepy mode or sleepy boy and just wiped his field and was like, cool, you got 2 tamers out for free. But
You
there's
have
two
nothing
level
else.
fives. Yeah, there's 2 level 5s in the trash. I don't think you're coming back from that.
Speaking of Shine, you were kind of telling me earlier about like your ways to play around Belphemon that a lot of people probably don't realize you can do.
Yeah, it's really Shine, and then like I guess theoretically anything that runs a Chimeramon. So sleep mode, even though it can't be affected, it can still be targeted. So if you have any DP reduction or anything that lasts, um, I can't. I don't play Shine, so I can't think of anything specifically from there off the top of my head. But Chimeramon DNA is until the end of your opponent's turn for the DP reduction. So you can target sleep mode, and then sleep mode will not be affected. But when it trashes and goes to a rage mode, it will be affected. And so you can Shine can DP reduce it to 0 and delete the rage mode before anything bad happens. But other decks, even if you're lowering the DP, it's now like a riskier swing for 2 checks, things like that. The other thing to go along with that is specifically anytime anybody sees a sleep mode, they think it's unaffected. But unless you tuck a rage mode from trash after digivolving into sleep mode, it does not gain that protection. It will still always be able to stop one attack by trashing 2 cards from your hand, but if you don't tuck the rage mode, specifically when digivolving with the sleep mode, it will not gain that protection. There's another not weird ruling, but say you have a scatter mode on field with Belphemon, you hard play Astamon to delete the scatter mode. You have to digivolve into sleep mode first to fully resolve Astamon's effect. So you can't search for that sleep mode with scatters, draw 3, trash 2, and whatever other inherits you have. You have to digivolve to sleep mode first. Now, sleep modes when digivolving effect and scatter modes on deletion effect can both be activated in either order. So if you still need to get a rage mode in trash, Belphemon players can do that. But they have to digivolve into the sleep mode because of Astamon's effect before they do any draw discard. So don't let anybody cheat you with that.
Yeah, and that's just one thing. Also, it's like really good to like keep an eye out when you're playing against it because you can just be like, nothing got tucked. It's time to hit it or do whatever you can to get rid of it. I guess, I just thought of this. Another counter would be, was it Galgamon? Is that how you pronounce it?
Oh, the Mirage, the whole Mirage blue deck is a hard counter to Belphemon.
Because you just make them draw cards. They don't keep it 6 and under.
Yeah, and I mean that's the other thing too. It's start of main phase is when Rage Mode deletes level 5 and lowers, and it does its check for if you have 6 or less cards. Then it gets the Sec +1 and 3 KDP. Like it just checks it at that moment. So even if you get down to less than 6 later, it doesn't matter. I haven't done a lot of testing in the Mirage, but it's funny because you're both trying to do the exact opposite things. I've had many games with Belphemon where I'm just at like 3 cards or 1 card, and I'm just like, well, I hope this sleep mode stays in the field to kill my opponent, because otherwise I have no other options.
If you know their hand size is low and you do have the opportunity or a way to get rid of their sleepy boy or just even just the rage mode, it kind of set that's a way they can get set back pretty hard if you only got 1 card in hand and then like they hit into security and hit something like a Gaia Force or something along those lines. It doesn't have that protection because it's rage mode at the moment. It would just get deleted and it's like they got nothing to come back from.
Yeah, to add to that too is the Gizemon line all requires, other than the level 5, requires you to bottom deck 2 to play another one out. And I mean, maximum you can run of those is 12. So if they put out like a AT, which is the level on turn. Ah, my computer. What are you doing? If they put out a turn, the level 4 on like turn 2, they have to have an XT, which the level 5, and then another Gizemon to bottom deck the level 4 that just left the field because it's on deletion effect. So it lets it bottom deck and still use its on deletion, which is weird. If you played purple for a while, you're like, on deletion effects, I need my Digimon to be in the trash, but not with this deck because its on deletion effect is actually bottom decking it. But it's always great to ask the Belfemon player, like, hey, what's in your trash? Like, how many XT or how many ATs? Like, can you cycle these guys out if I kill this? Because it's a really good way to disrupt Belphemon if you can delete one of their Gizemon and they don't, and they aren't able to bring out the next in line.
It's just kind of one of those decks that's really hard to like. There's ways to counter it, but they're never easy. When you're playing against it, is it smart to try to go quick and try to kind of beat them before they get into their sleepy boy?
I, Sometimes, I mean, aggression can just win games. That's probably one of the easiest ways to beat it, but not every deck can do that. So it's tough to just like recommend pure aggression. And because like Belphemon's running a lot of level 6s, like usually at least 2 Nidhogg's, 4 sleep, and 4 rage. So unlike almost every other purple deck, like the DP and security is pretty high. So the survivability rate of most checks is not the greatest.
Really, depending on the state or the situation or what's going on the board, is how you have to play. If they have their tamer out, you have to get into a level 7 because if you go into anything lower, it's going to die. If they don't have the tamer out, your level 6 can theoretically survive as long as it's not suspended for any reason. Security bombs, having just something to kind of delete it.
Yeah, this whole format I feel like is like promoting having security bombs to delete stuff. And I mean, the other thing too is a lot of times Belfemon players don't have it. Like there's just so many instances where you're just like if you got it, you got it. It's hard to beat Belfemon on just like if they have it, it's hard to beat them. But if you see a Belfemon player just like kind of struggling to establish or they really seem like they're digging for pieces, like I feel like it's paramount. You got to take advantage of that and just hit them hard quick because sleep mode can only stop one attack. So if you can get them to 2 or 3 security early, it puts a lot of Belflon players in a weird spot. And it's just like, hey, I can stop one of your attacks. I can maybe bring out a blocker, but that's about the best I can do. I mean, Shine, great deck, especially this format. There's just a point where I got to do everything I wanted to do with Belphemon, but it took me a turn or maybe 2 turns with a couple memory boosts to kind of get to where I needed to be. And by that time, they had 3 Digimon and 2 Tamers out in the field, and I had 2 security left. And I could stop one attack, bring out a blocker with the Astamon inheritable, but they're still just swinging freely for the last 2 checks and game.
So do you say this deck kind of has a tendency to brick sometimes?
I, I'm a purple player, so I like to pretend that no decks can brick. You can totally play out of it. It'll be fine. There's a lot of cycle with Belphemon. I mean, unless it like completely bricks and you get like a poker hand of like 3 Tamers and 2 Rage modes. Even then, hard play Tamers 2 turns and you get to cycle half your deck. Like main keys to playing against it are aggression, but also always keeping track of your opponent's trash, which sounds weird, but a lot of people don't pay attention to that, and then it's kind of like a tell when you ask somebody about it. So just like a general thing for being a better player, randomly ask people stuff. Like back when Beelstar in like BT6 came out, or no, the counter to Beelstar in BT7, like the Avenge Kidmon, and then as soon as somebody asks you how many options are in your trash, like you know that they have the Avenge Kidmon in their hand. So like I actually like go out of my way to just ask people things randomly. We're like I was playing against Royal Knights, and I was like, "How many cards are in your trash?" Because of the Gallimon that reduces the on play. So like asking Belphemon just random things about their trash is just a good way to play the game, in my opinion.
But that's one thing probably for me, just as a player, definitely need to start like just being like, hey, what's this? Hey, how many cards in hand? Like random questions, because kind of like how you said, when you're asking certain questions, and if you don't ask a lot, kind of keep your hand still kind of a mystery.
Yeah, just even like asking a question for a specific card, even when it's not in your hand, can be like an advantage for you. Just or how many Gizamon are in your trash? And I go, I guess he's got a good way to delete my Gizamon. I better keep track of that, even if maybe they don't. But since they've asked me that question, I'm thinking about that now. It's like, oh, he's got some sort of removal in his hand. I got to worry about that. And I don't think enough players, at least like locally here, I don't think enough players ask those kind of questions and like make you think about, wow, what could they have? What are they doing? What are they planning?
Just doing those questions like make potentially stall you make you stall for a turn because you're thinking if they're asking these questions then they definitely have something. If I just play this, is gonna they're gonna get rid of it, so I'll just maybe avoid doing that for right now.
It just puts your opponent like off, makes them play a little. I mean, I hate to say it because I'm left-handed, but it makes them play a little left-handed sometimes.
I think we covered everything, to be honest. I really can't think of anything else I need to ask. Do you think of anything else, like just off the top of your head, that we haven't talked about?
I'm trying to think. I, I think I think we covered a lot of Belf bases. I mean,
Yeah, I feel like
really, it's really just hide and raising and hope they don't kill you that turn.
a lot of great information here. Definitely for me too, just being able to learn to play against it. All right, well, hey, if you like this video and you found something informative about it, hit a like, subscribe if you're feeling like watching more of the Digidats is talking about this game and just things that happen. And if you want to, comment something that you want us to talk about in the future, just do that, and then we can roll from there. Do you want to
Yeah,
say anything to say bye?
any deck breakdowns or anything like that? I mainly play purple. I dabble in a lot of red. I leave blue and green to other people mainly, but anything you guys want to talk about, I am down to talk about. I love talking shop. Makes me stay up way too late and be sleepy the next day.
That's the way of the road. Like that's what I feel like any card player who really enjoys the game and also works a full-time job and have a life outside of the game, that's what they live for.
I mean, 100% agree. And I'm, I love talking shop, thinking of weird ideas. My buddies just got me teching Craniumon in a Jesmon deck, a Bt13 Craniumon, because I put it under GX and I can't be affected by my opponent's Digimon effects. Weird. Just weird stuff happens after 1 o'clock.
My main deck's Agumon, so clearly I'm in it for trying to make weird things work. Like my Agumon deck right now is running Gabumon and the Garurumon from EX4 to try to be able to cheaply evo into the Greymon that gains a memory. So I would technically Digivolve into the Garurumon, Digivolve another Digimon into Greymon that gains a memory if it's under or an Agumon's underneath, so I can theoretically do that evo for free because I'll gain a memory off of the Gabumon's inheritable, and I'll gain a memory from the Greymon itself. So I just evoed in two things for zero memory, technically.
You're a madman. I
It's
mean, the wildest I get is adding Geo Greymon into Royal Knights, and I'm going to test that this week and see how it works out. And if you guys want to see a Royal Knights profile, maybe we'll get to it.
I love how this was supposed to be like just the ending, closing remarks, and we just went on a big tangent. So I think that's perfect, to be honest. I feel like that just encapsulates everything we were just talking about.
Would you like to hear us ramble for 5 to 10 minutes when we said goodbye?
Yeah, we said bye
Then this
10
is
minutes ago, but we're still here.
sleepy, sleepy ramblings of JJ and Toolbox Tie.
It's like that when you're in a sleepover and you got that tired high. Just sitting
Oh,
there,
those,
everyone's in bed, but you're still all talking for like another hour.
those are the best.
I miss that. That's the one thing with adulthood I do miss.
Yeah, but now in adulthood, I crave sleep. It's the exact opposite. Like, oh, I'm laying in bed. Why am I not asleep yet?
I hear sirens all day, so clearly I can sleep through anything.
I sleep through thunderstorms and fire alarms, so I think we're on the same sleep level, buddy.
Oh yeah, when I'm out, I'm out.
Mm-hmm. Unless the kid pitter patters into the room.
Yeah, that yeah. Some reason they gotta kids have a magical ability to if you hear something they're doing, you immediately wake up. But like I could sleep through like gunfire, but then like my toddler touches something I know they're not supposed to touch, I'll be up immediately. It's fun. It's fun being a dad. It's
I
fun.
love it,
It's
but
fun
I'm
being a
exhausted.
yeah. We're the digi dads. It's fun but exhausting.
I think that's the perfect way. I mean, that should be our intro from now on. We're the Digidads. It's fun, but exhausting.
All right. See ya, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Didn't think you had that.
Sorry. Took a sip of my drink and started choking on it.
Ties dying. This is my channel now. This is just JJ, one half of the Digidads. I own this channel. Look at me. I am the captain now.